everyone, welcome. My name is Lauren. Thank you so much for being here. I'm a homeschooling mom of 3 girls. Today's video is talking all about self-care. Is it actually biblical? Is it a selfish thing to do? So first, this video is a part of an open collaboration with Abby from Rooted in Rest and Jessica from the Waldock Way. It is a part of a month-long topic that they have this month is for self-care, and there is a whole different topic every single month throughout the school year. So I will link the playlist below as well as both of their channels so that you can check it out. I am coming at this from a Christian perspective. If you are a Christian, or even if you are not a Christian, you don't feel the need to completely just click off of this video. I am trying to talk to Christians and non-Christians alike. I have seen lately on, wherever, Instagram or whatever, sometimes people post things about self-care and how it is a very selfish and worldly perspective to focus on self-care. And I hear things like, don't give yourself grace, only God can give you grace. Or, you shouldn't fill up your own cup, only Jesus can fill up your own cup. And when I hear things like that, I just honestly take a step back. And I encourage you to, because I kind of think that people get wrapped up in the semantics of it. I don't think any Christian, now I can't speak for, a secular viewpoint, but as a Christian, there is no one out there saying, no, don't let Jesus fill up your cup, or don't let God give you grace. I don't think that that is the message. And I think people like to, I think it's extremely easy nowadays for people to just take things, twist them around, and then try to condemn like anything that's more mainstream. So when you see things like that, I just kind of take a step back. Don't get all wrapped up in the semantics of things. And self-care is one of those. And they have combined self-care with like the wine culture. And that I'm not gonna stand up for and agree with. I don't think it's funny for a mom to always be joking about having to need a glass of wine every night. I don't think that that's actually really funny at all. How her kids have to make her drink all the time. I don't find that funny. I think I don't know, but we're not here for that. But I have seen the self-care lumped into that category, and I don't think that that is the case. I think they are two completely separate, different things. And like I said, this is from a Christian perspective, and if you are not, don't feel the need like you're not included in part of this, because you absolutely are. I hope that anyone from any walk of life can come to my channel and just hopefully relate, not just about this video, but about any video that I put out. So welcome, you are loved, you're safe here, you're accepted here. In the Christian world, so to speak, that it is so easy for people to take sayings and get all upset about them. And so again, self-care has become one of them. But let's look at what the Bible has to say about that before we just focus in on getting so upset over things that I just feel like we don't need to get upset about. So did Jesus practice self-care? When we think of Jesus, we think, okay, this is a man who served others. He was a servant. He washed his disciples' feet. He was constantly healing. He was always with the people. He was always performing miracles, right? He was serving and serving and serving. And, they even say of all the works that Jesus did in his lifetime, it would fill like an entire library of books with just all the recordings. So God had pared down the Bible into just a few short chapters, honestly, of what he has done and what his accomplishments were. But make no mistake, it was no coincidence that Jesus, it was shown that he did take time for himself. He did have self-care. What was he doing when they were on the boat and the wind went crazy in the sea and the storm was, Jesus was sleeping on the boat. He wasn't up worried, and he wasn't doing what the disciples were doing. He wasn't being a sailor. He was sleeping. There are many, many examples of Jesus taking downtime to eat with his disciples, to fellowship with his disciples, to rest. There are so many examples of that in the Bible, and it's not coincidence. I truly believe God wants us to show, wait, he did have time and he did serve and give and have his ministry, but I also want to put in there, why did we need that verse in the Bible about Jesus eating and sleeping? Because I think it's important, and I think God wanted to show us that. Jesus also took time for prayer. He took that time. There was many accounts of when he withdrew from the crowds and went by himself, even withdrew from his disciples to fast and to pray, to spend time with his Father. So withdrawing and taking time for yourself is okay, and it is needed. I think physiologically, everyone needs that at some point to do that, to have that time alone. And then another way he built self-care, and these are just a few of the many different ways, but I just want to, kind of be an example, is that he built community. Yes, he was always out and about with his ministry, but he did have his chosen 12 as well as other followers, Mary Magdalene. He built himself a community. And I think we think self-care is just about ourselves, but it's not necessarily about being alone and about just getting your nails painted. I mean, that can be fine, but it is about doing things to make you a better person so that you can be a better person to serve your family, your husband, your children, whoever it is, to be a better friend, to be a better daughter, sister, whatever the case may be. And so community is really part of self-care. Going out and spending time with a friend, or going to a small group or something like that, or a homeschool group where you have found that connection. And if you haven't found that yet, don't be discouraged. It can take a while. I've been there before, and I saw everybody else and I was like, well, that'll never be me, but it will. Just give it time. Keep putting yourself out there, even if it makes you a little bit worried or stressed. It is totally worth it. So yes, Jesus absolutely had and practiced self-care. He did. He was a phenomenal example of the balance of work and rest. And I think we would all do well to take his example. But I did hear this one quote, self-care does not mean self-indulgence. I think the reason that we have difficulty with self-care, because I think that if it was easy, you wouldn't need, people wouldn't be making videos on it, right? And I'm not saying it's easy for me either. But I think it's very difficult for multiple reasons, just to name a few. I think you think about it as a mom, after you have this little baby, your world turns upside down. You are no longer about you and your needs and what's going on in your world. You are completely reliant, or they're reliant on you. And you are kind of honestly at the whims and mercy of these little babies who just need you all the time. And so our brains adapt and become so used to just constantly, and even as our children grow or we have more than one child, we are just constantly, whether we realize it or not, having that wheel always spinning of, are we doing this okay? Are we loving them enough? Are we reading to them enough? Have we given them too much screen time? All of these things are always in the back. And then you have, Instagram and Facebook and all these things telling us, oh, and don't do too much screen time, and so it just compounds that. So we already have a lot of mom guilt as it is. And then you say, oh, wait, now I have to take time for myself and neglect, it feels like you're neglecting your children. And so it is so easy to just push all of that to the side and say no, whether again, we are doing it consciously or subconsciously. A lot of times the self-care isn't a conscious thing to avoid. We're kind of we find other things to fill our time with. I know for myself, maybe you can relate, but unless I have that time planned out, okay, this day of the week, I look forward to this alone time or whatever the case may be, to just have impromptu time where I'm not doing something or I feel like it's, taking time for myself, I do feel guilty. I have a hard time sitting down and just relaxing and being unless it is a designated time. I hope that makes sense to you. So another reason that it may be difficult to us is because we may not have seen it modeled to us growing up. Maybe your family, you didn't see that in a healthy way. And so you don't even know what that looks like. I think that in different stages and in seasons of life, sometimes we might need a little bit more. Sometimes we could probably get by with a little bit less. And if you are comparing yourself to your friend who has older children and has a little bit more time seemingly to practice those self-care habits, and you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to get there. I have babies and toddlers, and you will get there, but you still do need that self-care. And so it's really important to find time to carve out, whether it's daily, ideally daily, or even just a few times a week. We don't just say, okay, well, I cleaned the kitchen on Monday and so it's clean. I mean, no, dishes happen every single day. Laundry happens all the time. It's something that's constant. And I think that we think, okay, well, since I did this once, then I'm good for a few months. That's not how it works. I'm not going to give like 100 examples of what self-care could be to you, because it's going to be completely different. But I do just want to encourage that I think it's healthy, normal. I think it is. You're going to feel a little bit of, if you're not used to it, you might feel a little bit of guilt at first, and that's totally fine. I think something that might help with the guilt though is having it planned. If you plan it, then that gives you something to look forward to. And I really think that if that's like something that you can look forward to, it's not as guilt inducing as if it's just more a little bit impromptu. And then lastly, I think it should be often. I think if it's once a month, like, well, I get my nails done once a month, that is not going to be enough. I think it's got to be something that's a little bit deeper, that's more soul satisfying. So for me, in the morning, if I do my quiet time where I have devotions, and I know that's cliche and you've heard it 100 times, but it is true. Once I do some reading and it's good for my soul, I physically, like, my nerves are so much more at ease, and I have so much more patience to last me, maybe not through the whole day, but at least like through a good portion of the school day, which is better than what I can say when I don't do it. I know there is a difference for me, and it's just about finding what works for you. So I just want to wrap this up with, self-care. It's not just about being selfish. It's not about only being by yourself and being alone. It's about finding things that bring you joy and that do fill up your cup. Yes, Jesus is part of that, but he also wants us to go outside of our little realm and find things that bring us joy. I don't think it's any coincidence that he is, that we have art and music out there. I think he created all that and loves it. And I think that is a beautiful way to express ourselves in any capacity of those forms that we can. And again, your hobby or self-care doesn't have to revolve around that, but my point is just to find something that you feel works for you and is going to bring you that feeling of, okay, I'm a little bit better. I feel more calm, more self-assured, and I feel like God has filled my cup up, and we can now go forward with the rest of our day, and I can be a better wife. I can be a better mom because of it. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. What are some self-care things that you do? I'd love to know. Leave them below in the comments so that other people watching this video maybe can get an idea too. I'd also love to hear. Don't forget to check the playlist down below so that you can see what other moms are doing and their self-care plans and ideas. If you thought this video was helpful, please make sure to like the video. It really does help. If you have not subscribed and want to subscribe, I would love to have you here. Thanks so much for watching. You have the best day. Until next time, I'll see you later.